It's up to you, New York, New York. How we doing? Happy Thursday morning. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook and YouTube. I am your host, Richie. On today's show, we're going to be hitting on the Knicks and Celtics final meeting of the regular season. It's going to require a Knicks victory as well as the Celtics to lose out for the Knicks to win the Atlantic Division. Not likely, but still a statement game that you want to make right before the playoffs. We're going to give a detailed look on what the brackets look like now. We're going to talk a little New York Yankees and the disappointment that was yesterday's game. They're bound to happen, especially in April. Get a lot of weird stuff going on the baseball field. With me, my guy, my co-host, my brother from another mother, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx.
I got sunshine on a cloudy day. What up, everybody? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, man, it's Florida cold today. We're getting a little wind. It's been dreary and rainy. I must admit, I was happy I got the dog out quick because my dog gets weird even with the slightest bit of a raindrop. So shouts out Daisy for taking care of your business before we had to start. And where do you want to start, Idris? Let's start in the NBA, man. New York Knicks, an up and down season. A lot of peaks and valleys in any NBA season. They play their main nemesis in the Atlantic Division tonight at Madison Square Garden. Of course, I'm talking about the Boston Celtics, who currently hold a 3-game lead in the standings with 3 left in the season. If the Knicks win today, they will win the season series. Boston's remaining 2 are the Pelicans. I think that's where the dream ends. And somehow, if they were to lose that and we were winning out, their final game of the year is against the Orlando Magic, who are currently locked into the 7th spot, but could potentially jump the Raptors and actually play us in round 1. So what are your thoughts? Is it reasonable to give up on the Atlantic Division and just say win the game tonight because you're going to see them in a few weeks?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel so. I think so. It'd be nice to have that spot, but why? Let's just rest up and let's get ready for the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I expect the Knicks to come out and play a hard-fought game tonight. I like the Knicks to win tonight. Personally, I think we match up well with the Celtics. But because of the kind of season the Celtics have had and because of the recent history of last year, I'm a little concerned. This is a team that I still had making the playoffs or being a bubble team, but definitely not winning the Atlantic Division again. And all praise is due to the coaching staff and the guys in that locker room. They really overachieved this year.
Yeah, most definitely. I would like us to win the division because that's just another notch, on our belt. Shouts out to Boston. Jason Tatum missed most of the season. I mean, nobody was expecting him to be back before the playoffs, but
no.
Balling out too. So Boston doing what Boston does, man. Of course, they're our rivals. I don't like them. So I like us to win tonight, regardless, even if it's not, even if it's for the Atlantic or not. I just want us to win. But I'm cool either way. I'm ready to go to the playoffs, man.
Yes, sir. If the playoffs started today, we would be facing the Toronto Raptors, a team that we've played well against during the course of the year. However, the Orlando Magic, a team that it was a mixed bag. We beat them
Yeah,
in Vegas,
yeah,
but they got victories over us in Orlando as well as in MSG. They were actually our first MSG loss this season. So
right,
Orlando, you talk about up and down. That's a
yeah,
very up and down team. I saw them live a couple of weeks ago. But in the playoffs, it's a second season, and what happened prior to is truthfully just not that serious. It's been proven time and time again in these playoffs. Like I look at a team like Charlotte,
hmm,
they're in a play-in. If they advance in their first play-in game, they're going to get Detroit in round one, and you know that right there could be interesting.
yeah. I saw Charlotte firsthand what they did in New York and what Double K can do. Whew, it's gonna be a hell of a playoff, man. I still see Detroit winning, but I think Charlotte could be the team that can wear them down for the next round. Because those guys are young, athletic, and they're playing with house money, man. You know?
Yeah, I'm not sure how updated this is because I do know that on a separate bracket, I saw Charlotte over there in the spot that Orlando would be in, Charlotte playing Miami.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can. We took so many screens this morning. Let me see if I can find this real quick.
yeah. You might need to do this. I might get
There we
booted out.
go. I may have just hit the wrong picture, Idris, because we were having some issues.
Yep,
There
that's
we
it.
go.
There we
There
go.
we
There we go.
go. Charlotte, Miami, truly could go either way, assuming it even stays the same. I really
Mhm.
want to see Orlando and the Knicks in round one. Considering that I live just outside Orlando, I will make it a point to get to a game regardless.
Right
Uh,
on.
Brett, holla at your people. That would be really nice.
Yeah. Hey, I might make a trip down there if they play Orlando, man.
I will say this.
Yeah.
On the other side, Western Conference, you got 260-win teams, Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the world champions defending. You got the
Mhm.
San Antonio Spurs, who have matched up very well with OKC. I think that's most people's consensus for the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Los
definitely.
Angeles Lakers, if the season ended today, would get the Houston Rockets. A couple of weeks ago, I was singing the Lakers' praises on how they won back-to-back games in Houston, considering that they could run into each other and add another page to the decorated history head-to-head of Kevin Durant and LeBron James. That'd be interesting. But with the Luka Doncic injury, even though the Lakers really got under the Houston Rockets in a lot of ways, I
Yeah.
would have to like the Rockets there if Luca is compromised or not playing at all.
Me too. Luca is the man on that team, dude. I don't care what people say. Luca is the guy on that team. Not very athletic, but he does what he does. Scores, rebound. Well, he's okay on rebound. Assists. He does it. He does all that stuff. And
It's the
LeBron,
circus-like shots that really impress me with Luca
that's
when
yeah, the
he's
one.
got all kinds of defense on him and shots that any coach would say do not take. But when Luca hits him at the frequency he does, as a coach, you just admire it and you're like, wow, this
He's
guy
who he
is an offensive menace.
And with LeBron, and I'm not knocking LeBron. I just don't think LeBron has it. Um,
It will
I,
be something though without Luca if LeBron can rally his team. This is
I
like the last go round for LeBron to be the guy, so to speak, especially if Luca is down.
yeah, I think with LeBron, I think LeBron will try to take over the game, and I think that'll mess up the flow. Because I noticed with Luca in there, with AR in there, they have a flow, but I think he'll try to take the game over, and that'll take a lot out of the rest of the team.
I
You
tend
know.
to agree. And something I've liked about what the Lakers have deployed when Luca's healthy is that in
Hmm.
certain games, LeBron is running with the immediate bench. And when you have a player like LeBron who can still get to the rack on any given night, he could throw down 30.
Yeah.
He's still capable. The point is that it makes the bench better. LeBron is a
Right.
facilitator
Right.
Regardless of all-time NBA points scored, he is a facilitator first, part of his skill set,
Right.
and a damn good passer. So you get guys like Austin Reeves, Achimura, deeper into that Laker bench, guys that really can shine because LeBron puts the ball where it needs to be. Bottom line, the man fills up a stat sheet every stay he's been. And like I said, he's no longer the number one offensive threat, nor should he be. But at 40, what is he, 42, 41? It's impressive, man. It's impressive just the fact that
Yeah.
he's still able to play in this league.
If he
But
can play facilitator and be the leader rather than trying to be the man, they can do it.
I
They
mean,
can
look at
do it.
what Magic Johnson did in certain playoff series over the years. Always a guy that could score 20 or better,
Yeah.
but he was so good at getting everybody else going, and that might have to be the onus of what LeBron does. And also rest minutes are going to be a thing. He's not a spring chicken, so you're going to have to nurture his minutes, especially if Luka is not available for part or all of round one. I'm taking the Rockets though in
Yeah.
that particular series. I don't really see too many upsets going down in the West in round one. However, if there is one that is possible because both teams have similar problems
Yeah.
and similar strengths, the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves, in my opinion, might be the most entertaining series of round one.
Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
both teams have shown times where they break down defensively, they struggle defensively. Um, you have all world scorer, all world Mr. Everything in Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
You have Anthony Edwards, who a lot of NBA fans know what he's capable of, but they want this young man to take the next step.
Right.
I personally will take Denver in 7 games, but I would not be surprised if it won either way. And I'll probably find myself rooting for Minnesota because of my admiration for former Knicks Dante DiVincenzo as well as Julius Randle. But just given recent playoffs, I
Hmm.
I gotta go with the big man there. I gotta go with Denver.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. You got Jokic, man, and that's yeah, that's a game changer right there. They've been there, done that. They know they've been battle testing the whole nine. It's time for Minnesota to make that jump, dude. And I don't know. I think they're young. I think they're hungry, and I think they got a lot of fight. They're very entertaining, but I just don't think they got enough for Denver in the playoffs because it's a
No, for
whole different.
sure, Idris, for sure. And I do share your sentiments on that. I would love to know what my dog is barking at.
He might trying to, Dave might be trying to get a picks in too. Hey, he might have a team. Don't hate on Daisy.
I love
She
my
got a good,
dog, but man, she
she
has
got a
been
dog.
whenever we get like this kind of weather where it's just like dreary, windy, and it could rain at any particular hour with the wind, forget it.
Yeah,
So all I'm going to say politely is I hope that it is a mild hurricane season.
right. Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
not, I'm going to have
Uh,
to take her to the fort in Oviedo, and she's going to be hanging out with Mom Dukes. But my mom loves the dog, so it's kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah, my mom's always like, "Oh, leave her for a week," because Eddie has this thing that he thinks he's the dog whisperer, so he wants to train the dog.
Oh, go ahead, Eddie.
And this is why we are the way we are, talking like we're on the phone. Back to the NBA. Um,
Wait till the end of the
I
show.
think the biggest probability in the East for an upset is if the Charlotte Hornets get a hold of the Detroit Pistons. Although
Yeah,
Miami has a reputation for doing it, I don't think Miami has the horses to upset the Pistons. However, given the way that the Charlotte Hornets have played this second half of the year, I do think that they could knock down the number one seeded Pistons, which would really open up the floodgates for teams like the Knicks, like the Celtics, like the Cavaliers.
yeah,
Um, golden opportunity right there. Because if you're the Knicks, let's say you're the 3 seed, and if you somehow beat the Celtics for a second consecutive year, you set yourself up to have home court advantage for the Eastern Conference Finals if Detroit gets knocked down early, which without Cade Cunningham is a very real possibility.
And let's go. I hope so. Because Detroit's
Yeah,
tough, man.
yeah, Detroit's
Detroit.
tough. I mean, I'm not going to discount what they're capable of doing because they've been able to hold this one seed without Cade.
Yeah.
And a thing about Detroit is even when they lose, they
Mm-hmm.
never really get smoked out.
Nah,
Now,
nah.
Detroit's got a lot of heart. This is a team that has improved immensely since last year when I thought they gave the Knicks a really good series.
They fought, dude. They fought. They fought. And I expect them to do the same this year in the playoffs. You know, they got the number one seed, which I mean, I didn't have them being number one. I figured they'd be like number five, number four. Just
Yeah, I
like we
had
thought
them right around
Orlando.
the middle, maybe best case scenario number three.
Yeah, because we know we both
Um,
had Orlando doing something this year.
yeah, I'm
You
waiting to
know,
see if Cleveland surprises everybody. The pressure's off them a little because last year they were the one seed. Indiana did what they do historically, not this era of Pacers basketball. Of course, this is a lost year for the Pacers, but it's an opportunity to grab one of the better players out of college. Um,
yeah,
but that Tyrese Halliburton injury it's crazy. This is a team that was one win away from an NBA championship last year. Now they're a lottery team.
yeah. And
But don't
I'm glad.
sleep on Indiana next year once they get their full arsenal back.
Oh, they're gonna be a headache, man. They're gonna be a headache. They're gonna get they're gonna get a good pick. Halliburton comes back. Yeah, they're gonna be a headache, dude.
And shouts out Rick Carlisle. Just a damn good coach, man.
Championship guy. Carlisle knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Carlisle, he knows that this is a lost season coming in. You know,
yeah,
uh, I do want to ask you this before we turn the page. Giannis of Milwaukee. I knew Milwaukee wasn't going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be like bad enough to not be at least in a play-in. Real
yeah,
disappointing season for Milwaukee.
yeah.
They tried to combine Dame and Giannis. That was a nightmare. Dame's not even part of it anymore. Do you feel that if the Knicks get dumped out early, that they could be a legitimate player for the services of Giannis and make a blockbuster deal that probably involves Karl Anthony Towns? I'm not sure if the Knicks have the kind of draft capital that the Bucks are looking for, but it would be interesting because I think Giannis has made it clear that if he's going to move, New York is among the top teams on his list.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Cat, man. I really am. You got a guy 7 foot, 270 pounds, and it's like he's scared to bang, and he can do it because I've seen him do it. I've seen him go to the paint. I've seen him dominate down low. But it's like he doesn't want to do it. So a Giannis will take it to he'll take it top of the key, and Giannis is going to the hoop every time. Giannis is going to the hoop every time. As for Milwaukee, I've heard that Doc Rivers won't be back. He's having a little beef with the team right now, actually. And
Doc
I
is a
didn't think
good
that.
coach, but he's so snake bit whenever he goes to the playoffs, with the exception of that '08 Celtics run.
Yeah, and see, I don't know. I think you agreed too. I know Zappy did. Um, I didn't think it was a good fit. I think they did good with who they had, and it seemed like they got worse with Doc. And I'm not knocking Doc, but they were doing fine with the coach they had. They were
But
30 and
this
30.
is the era. This is the era of NBA basketball where winning
Mhm.
an NBA title doesn't even make you safe to keep your employment. We saw it with the
Right.
Lakers. We've seen it with the Bucks.
Denver.
I mean, hell, Tom Thibodeau had the Knicks close, and I'm not defending him because I think a change was needed.
Yeah,
But it's a different day in the NBA where the players truly have a massive voice on a coach's future more than any other era in basketball.
probably in any sport. To be honest, in
I
any
have
sport.
to agree. I really have to agree because can you imagine if it was like that in football? Well, it is
Right.
in football to a level, but it's still bigger upstairs where in the
Yeah.
NBA, and I think it's because although the NBA, of course, is a team sport, it is more than any other sport, in my opinion, a league where one or two guys really could take over any particular game. Where
Yeah.
even if you have a great pitcher in baseball, you still got to get a couple of hits.
Yeah.
If you have, a phenomenal hitter like an Aaron Judge, like a Shohei Ohtani, you still need your team to show up defensively.
Yeah.
You can go 4 for 5 and still end up with an L if your pitcher doesn't show up. There's a lot of dependency. You could throw for 4 touchdowns in football, but if your defense is ass, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So you could be a great goaltender in hockey, but If the ice is tilted, you're gonna give one up.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways to look at it, but we'll see, man. I don't even know how I feel about bringing in Giannis. What scares me about the Knicks entertaining something like that is I
Yeah.
don't want a repeat of what went down with Carmelo Anthony when the Knicks
Right.
gutted that whole roster, and then they already put too much money into a broken down Amare Stoudemire.
Right.
It just wasn't, they put it all into that one season 12-13 where they bring in J Kidd, they brought in Tyson Chandler. If
Yeah.
Melo doesn't get the shoulder injury, do they go to the Eastern Finals and play the Miami Heat? Probably. They matched up good with the Heat that year, but it's like the same season with 97 when I'm like, oh, if PJ Brown doesn't body slam Charlie Ward, I could do hypotheticals all day. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Right.
But moving it along,
Yeah. Hey, let me say one thing. If we can get him on a good deal, I don't want to. I think the pieces we have, I don't want to give up too much, man. And that's the thing. And I know Milwaukee's going to win a lot. You know, we'll see. We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah, if you're, I get the idea because you have two bona fide superstars. I do want to ask you this ahead of the playoffs, last Nick related thing.
Mhm.
We know Jalen Brunson has consistently been the best scorer on this team since he came over. But in order for the Knicks to take that next step, do you think Jalen Brunson needs to hone it down a little in terms of shooting and really take the role of more of a traditional point guard and facilitate, where maybe you see a playoffs where a guy like Karl Anthony Towns is averaging the most points and maybe OG Anunoby is a top three scorer in these playoffs? Because I think Anunoby is, the big mystery because there are certain days where Anunoby looks like he could be the second offensive option on this team, but then he goes quiet, he goes stale, he goes missing. But then, and I noticed this more so on the road.
Yeah.
Anunoby really shows up on the road during his Knicks tenure. I mean, he's making some good money. I really enjoy watching him play. But I tell you, man, the Knicks love doing this to us as fans, where you just don't know what you're going to get from day to day, week to week. And last year was a nice treat. They should have won the Eastern Finals. I don't want to get into it, but it's a huge playoffs coming here because it's going to dictate a lot more of their future than just one summer of frustration if we go down early.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. OG. I think Jalen does need to scale back a little bit. Because we do need a number two. Because Cat is not. You would expect Cat to be the number two.
I mean,
You know.
shoot, dude, I've even gone as far as thinking if the Knicks trajectory and what they need to do in the future is get more of a traditional point guard where Jalen could really be the number two and not have the
That,
responsibility of that. And also from a standpoint that Jalen struggles defensively. That is a hole that you could poke in his game. If there is something to complain on, that would be it.
that's a good point, and I'm with you on that. And see, that's Jalen's problem. And he's not a good defender. And
No, I mean, he's a willing defender. He makes effort, but no, he's not a great defender.
not a great defender. But he tries. He tries. But we need somebody who can defend. And I agree. Maybe we need to bring in a traditional point guard, someone who's a facilitator.
Because I
And
feel that the best of the best
mhm,
alter their game for the betterment of the team. And in these coming playoffs, if Jalen
yeah,
has to hone it in to let Karl Anthony Towns be that scorer,
hmm
whatever it takes to win.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, we saw
Cat,
Patrick Ewing in the finals basically devote a series to just playing defense. And you had
yeah,
you had the guards that were outplaying Houston's guards. Why did we
yeah.
lose that series? I don't know. When OJ was getting chased by the law, we didn't hit free throws. We should have won that damn thing in 5 games.
The one that, yeah, yeah.
Man, man, and who the hell has 3 off days between games 6 and 7? And who the hell keeps their team in Houston that long? God damn you, Pat Riley.
Right.
Bro Blackman, Hubert Davis is sitting on the bench. And you let John Starks build that brick house. Man, Riley.
And Hubert Davis was a shooter.
Oh Lord,
Black,
don't get me
Black
started,
was
bro.
a
Don't
shooter.
get me started, bro.
Two shooters, dude. That's what they did was shoot the ball.
They didn't
You
have
know.
Drexler yet. They had him the next year when they gave Orlando the business. We should have
Right.
won that series.
Well, that series. You got
The
Black
best
and you
team
got
did not win. The best team did not win.
no, no.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it still
I
hurts.
don't. Us Knicks fans are tormented, man. It's like we
Yeah.
be with. I don't know. Life as a Knicks fan, it's got to be close to life as a Cleveland Browns fan. Dude. It has to be.
It's
Yeah.
comparable, believe it or not. Oh Lord. Yankee Stadium, I'm gonna move it over to them. All right, Idris. Anybody can lose to anybody, especially in the month of April. The weather conditions have not been very kind in the Northeast for the beginning of the baseball season. But the New
Yeah.
York Yankees lose to a team without a home. The
Right.
Athletics currently playing their home games in Sacramento, which the pitchers can't stand.
Right.
Ultimately, they'll be in Vegas. I give credit where it's due. The Athletics deserved to win yesterday. Yankees did absolutely nothing offensively, with the exception of the first inning when they jumped on former Yankee Luis Severino. Um, Will Warren, he had one poor inning as well. The wild pitch is what ultimately tied the game. I still thought the Yankees were going to find a way to somehow win the game, but in the ninth, David Bednar got into some trouble,
Yeah. Couldn't get out.
and they win via a sacrifice fly from Brett Rooker, and just a real frustrating performance. And I think to just put the cherry on top of a frustrating game to watch, it battled third baseman who actually played shortstop yesterday, Ryan McMahon. He did draw a walk, but when you build a 3-0 count and still strike out and you swung at ball four, I'm like, Aaron Boone, I understand that we don't have all these great options. But with the game on the line and this guy's hitting like a buck 80, a buck, this guy's hitting .86, we have to get him the hell out of that lineup. I don't give a shit how good his glove is.
Dude, I don't understand that, dude. You
I mean,
up
it's not
three?
a good place to be. We did not upgrade the third base position. And right
No, but
now
you
it's coming to bite the Yankees. If Ahmed Rosario was a good fielder, he'd play every day because a man could hit. But that's another disadvantage is that Ahmed Rosario has never been really good at any position in the infield, not even adequate at times. McMahon played a solid shortstop, but it, the offense on the whole has been very sporadic. They're not hitting right now. The pitching's been good enough, but they're not hitting right now.
when you're up 3-0 on the count, you take a few pitches. You
He
don't
did
swing.
take he did take ball the fourth pitch for a strike. He
Yeah,
missed he missed a 3-2.
yeah,
But my whole thing is I understand that when it's 3-2, you're the last out, the pressure's on. But that was a good sinker. But
yeah.
you at that point you got to trust your instinct. Take the
You
damn
got
walk. He swings at
you
ball.
got right. That's what I'm saying. Because
But,
usually,
but it was a good pitch. It was a good pitch. But I'm sorry. You gotta do something. Do something.
but you know what? The way I look at it, usually a pitcher when he has you in 3-2 or anything like that, a compromising a, a, a situation where you have to think.
Yes.
Usually they send you a pitch that makes you chase or something.
Yes.
You know,
Especially when you're up 3-0
right?
and it culminates to 3-2
Yeah,
on the sixth pitch, and it really was the sixth pitch. There wasn't fouls and all this other extra stuff in that at bat. You gotta know that he's gonna try to make you chase.
yeah. He's gonna throw you something.
He's not
He's
gonna
gonna,
give you anything that you can possibly take over the short porch. And that's what frustrated me with that at bat because you had Grisham on deck. He's not hitting
Mhm.
either, but at least he gives you a puncher's chance. And
Right,
then you got Judge.
right.
But bottom line is only 4 hits last night. They were able to draw some walks. They threatened, but
Yeah, but
just another frustrating game. I understand, that you gotta hope that guys could break out of slumps. But if these problems persist with Ryan McMahon going into like June, the Yankees have no other choice, but they're gonna have to try to find an outside solution. And I will say this, although Gleyber Torres did some things that turned me off,
mhm,
I do miss Gleyber Torres right now because Jazz Chisholm Jr., while he's not a natural third baseman, was able to play there during our World Series run.
right.
And, that was Gleyber's final year with the Yanks. They chose not to bring him back. But when I look at what's left now, DJ LeMahieu, he was part of that process back then, but, he fizzled out. He got old. His
Yeah,
body was breaking down. But I'm sorry. At the corners, you need something more than what Ryan McMahon provides. They took a chance because my thing is, if he wasn't lighting the world on fire in Colorado, that should have told you something.
Right on, right on.
Because Colorado, through and through, in addition to having the cheapest beers, it's a
It's
wonderful hit. It's a wonderful hitter's park.
a park right there. You want to go? You want to
Yeah,
hit a home run? Go to Colorado.
right, right. And I'm not saying that he's not capable of bouncing out of this, but right now his confidence is at an all-time low. This
Yeah.
reminds me, unfortunately, very similarly to what Joey Gallo went through when
Oh
he
yeah.
was a Yankee, where he would occasionally hit a home run, but you would go sometimes 2 for 18, 3 for 30. It was putrid. It was truly putrid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We got it. We got it. Oh man, the pitcher's doing pretty good. We got to
yeah,
get
all
the
in all, when you hold anybody to 3 runs, you're supposed to win.
yeah
You know, the
yeah.
Yankees, the Yankees pitching, even though the pen did get a little roughed up in
Mm,
the end of that Miami series, because the
yeah.
problem is that when your offense is just not flowing, you put more and more pressure on your pen where they have to be so fine. And yes, mistakes are going to be made, and they're going to give up some hits, and the margin for error is just too thin. But they should win today. You got Ryan Weathers on the mound. Not his best last time out. He does get the strikeouts though. So I expect one thing that I've learned about the Yankees in the Aaron Boone era is usually when they lose to an inferior team, the next day
Yeah.
they put up big time runs. So I would
Yeah.
not be
Flip.
the least bit surprised if the Yankees score 7, 8, 9 runs today. I remember a couple of years back when they got embarrassed by the Pirates. The next day it looked like a home run derby.
Yeah. That was
So
that. Yeah, 'cause I remember that game. I used the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he was going to gas house gorillas. And I made a meme of that. Yeah, because golly, we put up I think we went double digits in that game. Runs. I can't remember. I
yes,
think
if my memory serves me right, I think we scored like 11 or 12 runs, something like that.
yeah.
And it's something similar to like when the White Sox got a win against us and the Yankees tattooed them the next
Oh
day. I mean, it happens. It's a long season.
yeah.
You're
It's
not
early.
always going to beat teams you're supposed to beat. But like anything else, this is a team that won 94 games last year, but unfortunately did not have tiebreakers over the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays outplayed them last year head to head. I don't want to reflect on the season and go back to April and be like, damn, damn, damn. These are games we should have won. Um, and the A's
Mm.
are, in my opinion, a team that will be good in reasonable time. But
I
there's a
think
lot
so.
of disadvantages for that team. They really don't have a home.
Right, and that makes a big difference, man, because you're always traveling, and even if you're playing like they're playing in Sac right now, you're that's not their home.
Yeah, the pitchers hate that because the Oakland the Athletics um, pitchers, their ERAs are substantially worse at home because of the dimensions.
Right,
It is not fair to the pitchers. But
it's
Luis
not.
Severino, former Yankee, I'll give him some props yesterday. After that first crappy inning, he
Hmm.
really got it together. So shouts out to him. I understand why the Yankees moved on, but I must admit that when I consider the promise that he had coming up, and he was besties with Masahiro Tanaka, it kind
Yeah,
of sucks seeing him on the other side.
yeah,
The Blue Jays definitely needed to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Dodgers when you consider that the Dodgers, in one, the Dodgers had won 4 straight in Toronto going back to last year's World Series. So the Blue Jays, just from a morale standpoint, had to beat that team at least once, which they did do yesterday. But despite my frustration with yesterday's performance, I got the Dodgers and the Yankees right now on this very day as the two best teams in baseball. They are my World Series prediction. I'm putting the
oh yeah.
Dodgers above the Yankees off the jump. But I
Same
got the
here.
Yankees as the best team in the American League when they want to be.
Yeah, when they want to be. Yeah, same here. I'm still Dodgers Yankees. Um, yeah, it's still early and anything happen, but you know they are who they are. The Dodgers are who they are. I don't see the Dodgers falling apart. They got too much to fall apart. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. We got to win today though. We
I'll
got
tell you what's funny, Idris.
Mm.
I put a little money down. I had jumped on some games that were already underway.
Yeah,
So all of them hit in addition to my little player packs. Like I had Judge getting a hit, whatever. Yanks
yeah.
were up 2-0, and they were offering me an early cash out. And I said, let me see if they get through this inning. The
Yeah.
second that wild pitch went past JC Ascara, I said, cash out. So probably costing myself maybe about $7-8, but I
Yeah,
still, ended up getting some of their money yesterday. And a
yeah.
good thing I did cash out because the Yankees ultimately lost the game and it would have busted up my ticket. But
Yeah.
Nolan McClain on the bump for the New York Mets today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Uh, I think the world of this kid. I think this is a kid that when he's locked in and he gets more invaluable experience could potentially be the National League Cy Young Award winner. But we're going to
Mhm.
find out if the Mets have the moxie to, be all right without Juan Soto. It's like every other day with the Mets right now. Like one day they look like world beaters. One day they're like, oh shit, they miss Juan Soto. And with good reason. Juan Soto's a phenomenal baseball player.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, one day they're like, yeah, they they look like world beaters, then they start looking like the Mets. So I just had to take my shot at them, dude.
And speaking of Mets, Zappy spoke to me about this former. I'm going to talk about a former Met, one of their best pitchers ever, Jacob DeGrom, avoiding a massive injury. It was a some kind of knee sprain or something of that nature. They're saying he should make his next start, but Zappy and I are like-minded on this.
Hmm.
If Jacob DeGrom wants to save his career, I wholeheartedly believe that he needs to go into the pen and possibly become their closer,
I agree,
similar to a
100.
career move that John Smoltz made.
I felt that way last year, actually. I think I think he would be dominant in the pen because he's an ace. He just can't stay healthy. You know,
And I tell you, he got old fast because
the Mets messed him up, dude.
yeah, Mets did mess him up. But I can't believe that Jacob DeGrom is 38 years old.
I didn't know he. That's what right. I'm
I
sitting
mean,
there staring.
I'm happy that he got his World Series, even though he had no contribution to it because he got hurt that year. But the thing is like this is a guy that at his peak, the
Oh
only
God,
Met pitcher that I would put above him is Tom Seaver.
he was so dominating, man.
And
He
no
was so
disrespect to Ron Darling or Dwight Gooden, but I would put him above both of them at his peak.
yeah. Because here's a guy. I think he was 15 and 13 or something like that some years ago. But his losses didn't come at his hands. They were
I mean, there
blown.
were seasons where he had single digit victories and still won Cy Young Awards because that's how good he was. I got to see him live against the Philadelphia Phillies. I went to a game with Dorney that he had tickets for. And, I'm the furthest thing from a Met fan, but I was stoked about seeing Jacob DeGrom pitch, and he delivered. I will say this Philadelphia Phillies, my God, what a disappointment so far.
Yeah, they
They
supposed to be.
are bad.
They supposed to be in the top. They supposed to be in the top spot too.
Yeah,
They should
I
be
know
one.
they're getting older, but I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of dissension on that team, and I'm going to keep calling it. I think at some juncture during the season, you're going to see two things happen this year with two superstars, or maybe one
Mhm.
superstar and one that's kind of falling down a little. Bryce Harper will get dealt this year, in my genuine opinion. I actually think the Texas Rangers could be a fit for him. Now, as far as Tarek Skubal goes, I would
Mhm.
be very shocked if the Detroit Tigers do not deal him at the deadline because they're not going to be able to keep him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he should have been gone a long time ago. Bryce Harper. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's time to get out of this. It's
No,
time to
now
get
this
out of
is
this.
the thing, right? The Guardians are doing what they always do, overachieving. The
Oh yeah,
White Sox are not a pushover anymore. They're actually competing a little.
I
Royals
agree.
are kind of like that. That division is very like you don't know what's going to happen. But the Detroit Tigers, I'm going to say it right now, and it's only April. I don't want to overreact, but
Mhm.
they're getting waxed out in Minnesota. Minnesota's looking at a 4-game sweep today potentially, and Tarek Skubal. If they don't take the next step, Detroit's going to be in a weird place. But I think you got to deal him at the deadline and think about your future because unfortunately for the Tigers, I think their World Series window might be already closing. Now they could win that division without Scooble because that's what I'm saying about the other teams in that division.
Yeah.
But it's forever and day. Fuck you, AJ Hinch.
All day.
No sympathy
All,
here.
all
I
day.
I do like Scooble. I'm curious to see where he goes, but my prediction is he will end up on a National League roster. And Paul Skeens, I'm going to call it now.
Mhm.
We might have to wait, but I really believe Paul Skeens will eventually be a New York Yankee. It's going to be a couple
I
of
hope.
years, but Paul Skeens will be a Yankee.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
You ain't
That'd
getting
be
that
great.
one, Dodgers. You ain't getting that one.
You getting that one, man. You got everybody else, man. It's time for y'all to move on. Leave us alone. Let us do us. Yeah. We'll see.
Any
We'll
anything else on the brain, Idris, before we get out of here?
nah, I think we got it covered. Nah, I think that's it, man. Let's go Knicks, man.
Let's go, Knicks. We're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft.
Yeah.
We're going to be brainstorming and figuring out when we're going to be dropping mock draft
I do.
shows.
I do have one thing to say. I do have one
Yeah,
thing to say. Mike Zappi, I love you, bro. I really do, man. We don't need to have this beef, man. I love you, man. Things happen. If I offended you, I apologize. But I love you, man. And we're a team, and you need to be part of this team, dude. That's
all
what I got to
right,
say.
fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe you guys will be able to speak. Maybe not. I mean, I personally wouldn't mind promoting the beef just so we can get something going like Skip and Shannon. I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to make jokes about the expensive two grown men not exactly getting along right now. But if you
But
haven't already,
like I said, I have nothing against that man. He's
you
my
know,
dude. He's my
unfortunately,
dude.
like I said,
Yeah,
I
I know,
respect
I know.
everybody's final words, so to speak, on whatever the matter is. I personally think it's blown out of proportion, but that's just one man's opinion. If you
Yeah.
haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out our friends over at Casual Convo every Wednesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. Coco, Jude, Mr. Paul, and our friend Q. Also, check out the Sports Corner with two really cool Eagles fans, Mr. Joe
Yeah.
Gallagher, Mr. Johnny Nast. And if you haven't already, make it a point to get your ears on Old Man Energy, Volumes 1 and 2,
Yes,
Big
sir.
Bosco Productions.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're
That's
out for now. Announcements to come for this mock draft show. And you'll be looking for me in the shorts. I am doing a short after every Yankee game, no matter the result, no matter whatever. I'm always going to give you 3 minutes of brutal honesty. And hopefully it will be brutally pleasant. Because yesterday, I think anybody that saw that short just saw the frustration on my face like, wow, this was not it. But we are out for now. Hope you enjoy your Thursday. Peace.